Hey, what's good, family? I had to come back to y'all to kind of run some ideas by y'all real quick. This should be episode 3, if I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. But anyway, guys, I wanted to run by some ideas to your attention on the fact of how many of us out here that are born into this world that's full of chaos, so much destruction, yet beauty, but yet we find a way to make our purpose shine in its own unique way, right? So then when we find ourselves going different directions, then we can figure out how we get ourselves back on the right path by living the purpose that we were designed to do. Now, don't get me wrong, I feel like a lot of us should figure out how the pieces fall into place when we get kind of misunderstood or misplaced and turmoil hits our lives, and then we have to figure out where to go next. That's part of having a spiritual guide that a lot of us don't find out, if we ever do, until a devastating part of our lives finally kicks in and really knocks us off our feet. So we have to make that decision down the road if we're going to make that decision on, are we going to allow this to keep us on the ground and not dust ourselves off, or are we going to take that moment to dust ourselves off and keep fighting and go even harder now that we have the experience of knowing what real life devastation and hardships are? Because I always have this saying that through every life's devastation, we have some form of a spiritual elevation. Now, whether you choose to acknowledge what that elevation is on the person individually, but when it comes to the lessons that are wrapped up in so many different layers of point of views, in that way of you having your reality kicked into your teeth, life really has a different way of showing us who we are really meant to be when we go through our toughest difficulties as human beings. Because I didn't find out what my spiritual journey would be and how important it would be until my grandmother transitioned over into the next life. I want to say about almost going on 4 years now. But that mental break for me was something that I had a choice to make in that moment of, okay, am I going to allow this to continue to bury me in grief and sorrow and oh woe was me, or am I going to grieve, find my way out of this hole and climb my way back to the top of being who I was on the surface, but a better version of myself, being in totally in tune with my emotions, my analytical side, and my in total being as a human being. Because a lot of us like to dismiss who we are because of what our fears are from the rest of the world. When in reality, a lot of our fears don't come from us, they come from what the world tells us our fears are. So stop allowing the world to influence you so much when it comes to every aspect of your life. Now, you got to listen to your elders that really have that wisdom of life because they've lived longer than us. And then you can gain a lot of wisdom from people that are younger than us too. But I feel like age doesn't have a particular number when it comes to the wisdom part. Wisdom can come from a child. Wisdom can come from an older person. It's just a matter of if you have the eye and the ear to really spot what the message and the point was. Now, a lot of times I come to you guys and a lot of times I'm all over the place, but I do my best to show my human side when it comes to not only being a teacher, a influencer, a motivational speaker, or a person of influence for anyone that's younger or older than me. I try to show that vulnerable side of showing you like you don't have to be perfect in you pursuing your purpose, because your purpose is what's going to drive you down that road when it's real dark and you don't know which direction to go because you can't see. And I feel like that's my best example for me, metaphorically, when it comes to living and breathing by faith and not by sight. And a lot of us have this gap in between understanding the difference between our spiritual or religious side of lessons that we be taught in churches and holy people that think that they know everything, and that can be religious people or even atheists or agnostic. Humans just want to know everything, and that's our problem. But it's also our greatest gift. And I say that to say that when you get your information, take everything with a grain of salt, but don't dismiss it because it could save your life or someone else's as well. So always be aware, always have an open mind, but also know when to cut off your energy when it comes to who you keep around you. And that's why, again, I show you guys when I'm fresh, I look clean, I got my hair cut, or I have a nice outfit on, or what have you. But I also show you when my hair is a mess. I show you my human, vulnerable side where I can't afford to make everything a perfect image when I have a message to get out to you guys. And don't get me wrong, family, I care a lot about my appearance, but I also care more about my message more than anything because appearances come and go, but the messages will last forever. And that's what I live by, especially now that I know my purpose and I'm living in it. My purpose is more important than a lot of my personal desires. And at times that can become overwhelming and sometimes, in a lack of better words, depressing or self defeating. But I have to realize what I just said, self defeating, not purpose fulfilling. And what I mean by that is in the sense of allowing yourself defeat to defeat and overwhelm and consume your self purpose. Because everyone, as I say to you all the time, y'all, you are divine in your own way. A lot of us are not always meant to be kings and queens. Some of us are meant to be plumbers, doctors, furniture folks, carpenters, nurses, and so forth. Where not everybody's meant to be on a throne, guys. And don't take that as a bad thing. Take honor in the fact that you are who you are. And your lineage is very strong in its own way. Stop downgrading where you come from and what your bloodline is because you have the power to change it. But you have to have that mindset in order to do so. Why do you think our ancestors, no matter what your race is, they made their decision based off of the influences, good or bad, that were around them? So don't look down on who were before you, who was after you. You make the difference on who's going to be after you in the sense of them being better people and always improving the last name that you have or what last name that you create because your legacy starts with what you first. Even though you may have a disastrous history before you, create the new clean slate that's going to be after you and when you're gone because your name will carry on if you pass down knowledge, wisdom, and some form of positivity and spirituality and information that can change people's lives no matter what generation or era that you're in. Focus, strategize, plan out, research, and find you someone that can teach you what you need to know because this life is too short in rotation and life cycles will always happen when you don't pay attention, when you don't listen, and then when you keep being bullheaded and stubborn or not learning a lesson the first time, when you see it and you know it's there and you choose not to do it because of you giving that person or situation the benefit of the doubt. Learn your lesson the first time so you don't have to repeat the same cycle again and continuously be hurt and then be questioning the higher being. Why am I in this position? When in some kind of way or format, you put yourself there. So you build your own kingdom from the ground up. Learn what you like and don't like, and never allow the world to influence who you are, no matter if your world is your household, your family, your friends, and your loved one and significant other. You create your own world in your head, make it positive for yourself first, and then develop those around you to encourage them and see where it takes off from there. I love y'all. Let's stay focused. Let's stay driven. Team Life Clarity. Let's go. I'll talk to you on the next one.